Welcome to the third segment of the Procurement Roundtable. In this third segment, we will discuss why global procurement and supply chain leaders believe that procurement transformation conversations are becoming the part of the boardroom structure and what can be done to make it more strategic. How technology is seen as the transformational catalyst for procurement and strategic sourcing for the consumer-facing industry. As a progressive procurement and supply chain function become more strategic to boardroom imperatives, what are some of the benefits which you think technology can make and service providers more integrated into the collaborative vendor selection decision process?
Sure. So, there's a lot of things that touch on what Sheila, Justin, Terry, Vijay have been saying there. I mean, they've been talking about exactly those technology transformations. I think when you get into the boardroom, one of the things you're going to have to be facing is questions of risk management. And that's where the instrumentation you need technology to do that, the data management, to see where everything is, to do that chain of custody analysis, but also to see where the weak points are in your supply chain, see where the resilience is or isn't in your supply chain. That's the risk management decision that the board is going to be worried about. They're not going to be worried about, did you get the absolute best, most optimal chain here? They're going to be worried about, do we have the resiliency in place if, the war in Ukraine, God forbid, expands, if an increase in storms interrupt shipping more, if there's another surge in COVID or something like COVID that again disrupts chains, do new sanctions or retaliations for sanctions start interfering with other aspects of our supply chain? And if you have the instrumentation and the data to say, here's the variance, here's the risk, here's the places where we have those hotspots, that kind of pervasive instrumentation requires technology, requires the instrumentation, requires the master data to know where things are. That's going to be, I think, a critical factor as you're facing off to the board. Yes, they will be focused on increasing those margins where possible, reducing those costs where possible. But if a key part of your supply chain disappears and you're not selling products anymore, there's no margin anymore. So that risk tolerance, that risk management discipline needs to be a key part of how you're moving forward and informing the board. Yes, we have 3 different suppliers for this key product. That costs us some money in terms of managing it. But we also don't have a single point of failure anymore. And I think that's something that you'll see people continuing to move forward on. At the other end, you'll see people trying to innovate in the procurement processes themselves, switching from, say, an RFP approach to a pre-selected catalog kind of approach. Seeing this even in the public sector, with a lot of public organizations switching to the National Association of State Procurement Officer, NASPO procurement vehicles, where the competition has already been done, so they have a stable of people that they can buy from to get that kind of resilience.
Yeah, thank you, Brooke. I couldn't agree with you more. I think we've seen that specifically in the business continuity part of the labor market when COVID hit, and us trying to make sure that we have not all of our people in one place per se, right? Because it could affect our ability to deliver. So we were lucky enough on the HCL side to have a good distribution of resources globally to kind of be able to kind of move where we needed things to be done so that we could at least have resources to actually do the work when the pandemic was happening. So, and we continue to try to build that resiliency. So I couldn't agree with you more there. Justin, I'll take the same question to you, but what are some of the benefits which you can take? You can make IT organizations move closer to the business function and ease their decision-making processes.
Yeah. So, one thing, by the way, just taking a step back, how fun that sourcing and procurement is so important now. Like the last 2 or 3 years, the value and like procurement officers, like who are those guys? And all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, where is that person? So I think it's exciting that this is such a focus area for all of our companies and businesses now. So technology, it's really interesting. Where the places I've seen it come in and add immense value is, number one is in the data. So in things like spend classification, like advanced planning on categories, building a business case for like a procurement decision or a category decision, you've got to have good data, right? And I think everyone here is like, yes, of course we know that. But it's really hard. So like many of the companies I work with have multiple back office systems. They've grown through acquisition. They have never integrated those. In consumer products. It might be like multiple versions of an SAP or an Info or other back offices, right? So in order for me to get a good view of even like of the data, I've got to be able to bring that together in a way that makes sense, right? And then I've got to be able to put the reporting and the analytics on top so I can actually start to get a good baseline to create a business case, and then do some of the advanced analytic thinking around like what could the future be, and then therefore bring a program together, right? So that's one area. The second is in things like I mentioned earlier, like supplier onboarding or supplier portals. Like what's your interface to and from and with suppliers? How do you get information from them? How do you get new pricing from them? How are you handling all the price changes that are coming in right now due to inflation? Now all of a sudden you've got contracts, but you've got things that were unplanned. So there's now a need for better communication and collaboration with suppliers through things like those types of platforms. And then you've got these legacy procurement technology systems, right, that many of us use. I won't mention them by name, but there's a couple of the big guys, right? And how are they advancing fast enough to meet the needs of the business? Like that to me is the issue. And it's not easy just to swap them out, right? You're already using one of those platforms. Can you evolve with them? Can you add capabilities and services around them? And or are they, adding new capabilities and services to meet the needs of the very fast evolving world of category management, procurement, and whatnot? So those are a couple areas that I've seen where technology and the role of IT has really been a big part of enabling sourcing and procurement.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the maturity of applications over the years has caused some of them to become very heavy. And, we're looking to figure out where we really need the heavy ones, where we can go to maybe lighter ones, where some of the newer technologies are coming out, and, kind of the app effect, if you will, that, kind of says, why can't we just do the simple thing on our phone? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. The one that I was looking at some of my notes here, and like I'll give you a great example. Like these roles are now in procurement: data scientist, RPA manager, visualization lead, and AI ML analyst. Like, okay, we're used to talking about like procurement analysts, sourcing managers, continuous improvement manager. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so in the past, a lot of those roles would have been in IT, and now they're in procurement.
Sure. I think IT is infiltrating itself into everything just because there's so much data in all the work that we do that, almost all the functions need to do something that's more IT focused than maybe in the past. So good insights. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.